And good evening, everyone from Las Vegas, and welcome to the Sports Adrenaline LV show.
I like the two-shot that we're starting on.
We're incognito.
I'm just going to do mine like that.
Yeah, no.
The Vegas Golden Knights, that looks great. Mil Mascaris right here. The Vegas Golden Knights head coach Gerard Gallant said after Game 4 that San Jose played its best game of the season, or of the series. The series knotted up at 2-2.
Maybe of the season.
And we have a lot of VGK talk coming your way tonight. We will have the latest Raiders news, post-NFL draft, and also an interview with Greg Townsend coming your way, the Raider great. UNLV signs a recruit. We'll find out who the Rebels will be playing in next season's Mountain West Missouri Valley Challenge, plus Red Bull football, NFL free agent signings. We'll have that. The Las Vegas Aces. I'm losing you here.
You didn't know you were sitting next to Rey Mysterio this whole time.
Do you need me to read your notes for you? Tony Cordasco with John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, Rick Strasser.
Okay.
Haley Brooks is on assignment.
Are we going to talk about the LV lights later on? Is that what it's all about?
So
the LV lights and John Castanino are going luchador. Tony Cordasco, John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, Rick Strasser, Haley Brooks, Luis Negretti have the night off on assignment.
The glasses are not working with this.
And this is produced by Richard Giacovino. First of all, guys, in the knighthood.
That's a great look, John.
Mm-hmm. Gerard Gallant said the San Jose Sharks played a perfect game in shutting out VGK in San Jose on Wednesday night, 4-0. That series now is tied up at 2 games apiece between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Sharks. Pretty much, guys, the Golden Knights, they lacked a spark, right, in Game 4.
Right.
So where do we go from here?
You go home.
Shouldn't Malcolm Subban have started in net?
Why does he have to start like...
I don't understand why
Subban
plays forward now.
Well,
is he the top-line center?
Well, that's what I said.
Can somebody tell Tony to really knock off those
it's such
out of
a
left
troll
field
job.
comments?
It's one thing when you're saying Sharks in 7. It's a complete troll job to say Subban should be in net.
Sharks
when
in
Fleury
7,
is having a career year, he's the best goalie in the playoffs right now.
Who said that this would be
Yet somehow his backup is going to help them score more than 0 goals. It's absurd.
How do they get the spark back in Game 5?
They don't start Subban. They come home to T-Mobile, and they get back to playing nice hockey.
What do you mean? You come back to Vegas. That's how they get the spark back. This team, how many times do the Golden Knights need to prove to you that they're the most resilient team in the NHL?
If they lift the cup, he's going to give you an excuse as to why it didn't really happen.
Would you guys agree or disagree that the last 3 games, San Jose has dominated?
Disagree.
Completely disagree.
Maybe
not on scoreboard.
You need to stop reading all the media, the Twitter
I'm that guy that starts to read everyone else. I read everyone else. You know what? I think I was reading online that fans were saying start Malcolm Subban.
Fans are
not
the brightest.
Game 3,
sometimes
VGK was up 3-1 and played really well through the first and second period. And San Jose came back and tied the game, and it goes to overtime. Careful, John, you almost lost your specs there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bifocals now.
But so you really can't say that they were dominated. This last game, they did not play well. I mean, San Jose did things that Vegas is normally doing, and the Knights have to get back to doing that. They didn't play their game.
This series is a split every which way you look at it. Game 1, complete domination by the Knights. Game 2, Game 4, complete domination by the Sharks. 2 and 3 were overtime games, which means they could have gone either way, and they split those 2 games. Now you come back home. It's a best-of-3 series. If it goes 7, you get 2 of them at T-Mobile. That's where we're at now. This is an even series. I don't want to hear about stats and face-offs.
I'm going to give you face-off stats.
It's 2-2. You've had 2 really tight games and 2 blowouts. That's
I know it's
where you're
ancient
at
history,
right
but I'm still grumpy about the. That's so good. I'm still grumpy about the overturned goal in game 2.
Yeah, because it'd be 3-1 without that. That's a fact. Without an overturned goal, it would be 3-1 in the series.
Which I don't know if it should have been overturned. I really don't. You had a shark on Marchessault's hip coming around the corner, and the butt end of the stick is hit, and then had plenty of time to reestablish himself.
Yeah, he gave up a soft goal.
Right.
Basically.
So I disagree with it. But
let's go goal 1 last night, right? I didn't see this pick play. I know
Which
somebody
one?
mentioned
One of the
it after
500?
the fact, but the first one I didn't catch. That kid Sorensen, He's the fastest player on San Jose. I thought it was a great move by him. Not seeing the play behind it, I saw that Tuck lost his footing. Whatever, he rolls around. He beats, was it Schmidt that came in on the other side, or am I thinking of the second goal? I don't know. No, it just was Tuck.
So that was a tough.
Marcus Sorensen dekes out Tuck.
Thought it was a great play initially. Then I saw the pick, and that was ridiculous.
Dekes out Tuck as
was that before
Eric
or
Fair,
after the pick?
As Eric Fair
before or after the pick?
Set the screen, right? The one way to beat the pick play, Ryan Reeves. He'll just run right through it. He'll run right through it. He'll skate right through it. No. What are you guys talking about?
Why would Reeves even be getting picked? He never has the puck to do anything offensively. Why are you going to pick Ryan Reeves?
But the question is, who are you
He's
going to
irrelevant
replace?
offensively.
I mean, I agree there should be a couple tweaks heading into Game 5, but I don't think Ryan Reeves is the answer. I think maybe Lucas Spiza needs to come in because he's healthy again, and I think John Merrill is struggling a little bit. So that
he struggled 2 straight games.
That to me could be a switch, and I think Ryan Carpenter's got to be back in there instead of Tatar. I think Carpenter plays better on the defensive end and has proven to play really well with Eakin in passing
They're more comfortable
and getting
with
shots off.
Carpenter in there.
Yeah,
than they
I
are
agree.
With Tatar. Tatar's invisible at this point. He hasn't.
I
done
like
anything.
Tatar as a player, but coming
He's
in cold
not-
in the game
he doesn't
3,
fit right now.
I don't think he fit. I think Carpenter fits what they're doing a lot better. And he's more physical on the defensive end, which they need.
You guys would have to agree, though, that we've seen some uncharacteristic things happen from VGK in this series.
Such as
penalties earlier on in the series.
Yeah, especially Game 2 with the penalties. We'll talk about that. Especially in Game 2, they totally played into the Sharks' hand, and it cost them. They had 22 penalty minutes.
I want to know why you're
2.
surprised about that, Tony. You
Because
sat
they
here
shouldn't
and
be doing
preached for weeks about how the playoffs are different and it's going to be more physical. Didn't you expect this going in?
And then Carrier last night, carried it away, getting frustrated with Evander Kane, and then Marchessault knocking over. You never knock over a goalie's water bottle. That's not cool.
Poor goalie.
But you could see the frustration, I think. And
of course,
the
they
one
lost
thing that
4-0.
The one thing that Gallant said afterwards was we didn't get enough forecheck pressure on the defenseman, and the fact that San Jose moved the puck very well, and they're starting to move the puck very well. And one of the signs there was, the big end to end, with 6 seconds to go.
Donskoy,
yeah, in the first period.
That was a horrible goal to give up.
When
especially when
just
you have 2
takes it end
defenders
to end,
in front of him,
and he splits them right.
Yeah.
And nobody goes after
through the
him.
legs. It was a pretty disgusting shot that Fleury didn't pick up. And
that's not on Fleury at all.
9 times out of 10, though. I mean, that's if he just would have saw the puck, he would have made the save.
Right, but he was being screened by 2 of his own men.
I get
and
it.
shot
I get
came
it.
from between
He should
his
not
legs.
have been in that position.
That's on his defenders without question.
Right. Yeah, they didn't defend that play well at all. I mean, they've got to get back to how they've been playing defense through the playoffs so far, which is stopping the puck, which is matching up out there, and they didn't. I don't know what happened last night because they didn't do any of that throughout the game.
What's happened is the Sharks have made adjustments, right? The Sharks have adjusted their game to counter the Knights' speed. Now, if you believe in Gerard Gallant as being a great coach, which he's been all year, then you would expect him to make adjustments going into Game 5. They're going to have all the momentum in the world behind them with the crowd at T-Mobile. They're back at home. Comfortable surroundings. There's no reason for
all
them
the
to not
momentum.
come out.
They don't have any momentum in this going into this game.
Did the Sharks have momentum going into Game 2? They won it in double overtime. Tony, momentum shifts within the game. It has nothing to do with what happened in the last
so now
game.
you're clairvoyant and you're going to tell me that they can just turn it on.
You told
and
me
off.
they're going to lose in 7.
I'm still sticking with my
and I'm
prediction
sticking
of
with
7.
6, and I'm sticking with the Knights coming out on fire tomorrow.
Okay.
I feel like I need to start raising my hand in between.
Yes, go ahead.
To get in between.
Oh, is that John?
All right, so even though it was 4-0, I don't think it's going to take some tremendous effort for the Knights to get back on track. They had scoring chances last night. Martin Jones was phenomenal. So whether this was a 1-0 game or a 2-0 game, it looked like the Sharks were going to win. Now, granted, 2-0 or 1-0 heading into the third would have made it a lot more dramatic. But Jones was just standing on his head, as everybody can agree, the whole night. So whether you lose this game 4-0 like they did, again, I think they generated some scoring chances. They weren't tremendous, but they had chances to score here. So I don't think there's anything here besides defensively that they've had issues with exposing Fleury. They just need to tighten that up, which they've done time and time again. So I have no worries about this team going into a Game 5.
But at the same time, I don't know that Jones had this I mean, he pitched a
I thought he was
shutout,
I thought he was really
awesome
good.
yesterday.
but I don't know
Great.
that he had this over-the-top extraordinary game because the Knights weren't getting shots like they had in the past.
But
They
he
had
made
a
three.
they
made
had
some
a few
phenomenal
They
saves
had a
on the
few,
power play.
but
Right.
they did not have the attack as they have in the past and just peppering the goal.
Right.
Well, most of it was on the power play, as opposed to usually when they generate that kind of offense in the 5-on-5. They had a lot of great chances on the power play.
San
that
Jose's
he
really come alive in the
stepped up
5-on-5.
to.
They have, right? But, Martin Jones said after the game that the San Jose Sharks are a much tougher team to play against when VGK has to travel through all 5 players 200 feet. So they're picking
Is there a
things
team
up
in the
better.
NHL that wouldn't be
They're
more
picking-
difficult to go against
they're
if you had to go
picking up-
through 5 guys versus
They're
3?
picking up better defensively. You
They are.
can't. You can't admit to that.
Adjustments, Tony. That's what I said. They've adjusted.
Okay, so now
Your
how
argument,
does
your
my
argument is
argument
predicated
here
on
is
the fact that the
how-
Knights cannot adjust going forward.
Okay, so
that this
how
is
do
what
they?
it's going to be
okay,
now, and they cannot adjust.
How do they? How do
I'm
they
not the head
adjust?
coach. Ask Alon.
Well,
I'm quite sure he's going to draw
You
something
should be able
up.
to read someone's tweets and then just repeat it.
I'll read yours. Oh, look, they say Sharks in 7.
Okay, so VGK's first line, 19 points right through the first 3 games. Quiet night last night. Marchessault, Carlson, Smith. Not a lot of quality, shots as you mentioned.
Well,
on that.
they had some. There weren't as many.
Right.
They need more production out of their top line. for
I know.
sure.
Well,
Well,
right.
they've
They were
had
just
it.
killing
It's
it, right?
one game.
If they,
This is the
if
only
San
game they've
Jose
been
can
shut out in
shut
the
down
series.
that, okay. If they
Well,
can
but going from
control
game
that
4 to
first
game
line,
5, that's what they
if
need
San
to
Jose
do.
can control that first line, do they win the series? Do you think that that's key? Because I do. I think that's a major key in this series.
If they do that and the Knights control their 4th line, which has been great, do
The
they
fourth
win
line
the series?
killed them last night.
Do
Yeah.
they win the series?
The top
In
two,
seven.
both
In seven.
ways,
In
the
man.
seven.
top
It's
2
two-
lines pretty much
two.
neutralized each other last night. It was the 4th line for San Jose that gave Vegas a lot of trouble. And I think you have to shift up the lines a little bit. I think maybe you move Perron back to his normal spot and put Tuck back on that 3rd line because I think Perron is more comfortable with Howla and Neal and because that's how they played the entire season. I think you got to go back to what got you there.
I want to go to
What?
face-offs.
Oh, okay.
Let's go ahead.
think
Face-offs
you're
are my
digging deep
thing.
here.
Well, face-offs are my thing, and I stole all this information
From NBC.
off of other people, other folks off of their Twitter handles. By the way, John, you got me in trouble with the city this week, and we'll talk about that. But face-off issue.
Yeah, whatever. What?
Congratulations,
But
John.
in trouble,
I'm happy.
I mean, it's... Yeah.
Yeah, face-off issue. Won by the Sharks in Game 4, 56 to 44%. Chris Tierney, 9 of 14 in Game 4. Tomas Hertl, 8 of 16. Eric Fierce, 7 of 10. That's 70%. So who's going to win face-offs? Yeah, look at the numbers. Who's going to win face-offs?
Is that for the series, or is that for
That's
game,
just in Game 4.
Game 4? Okay.
So all the stats.
And
lead
they
to
scored
game
the final
4.
goal off of a face-off. Was there another goal off of a face-off? No, one was end-to-end. I think there was one more goal. Maybe 50% of
One
the
was
Sharks.
on a pick play.
Okay, that's okay. Well,
Which
they
is fine,
executed
right?
it really well. They ran the pick play much better
Yeah,
than
so
Steph
do the
Curry.
Patriots. It doesn't make it legal,
to
man.
Draymond Green. It was okay.
Still a score.
It's not basketball. You can't run a pick.
You need to.
You can't run a legal screen in this game. It doesn't work that
No,
way.
you're not gonna credit-
That's an illegal play.
You're not going to credit good skating.
That first goal was absolutely
Sick.
That should not have been a goal. That was a pick play.
No, come
And
on.
not only that, not only
Okay,
was
was
he picked,
every
he
wait,
was
wait, wait.
hooked on top of
was
it.
every
There was two penalties in one. Both missed. Goal.
Oh,
that
but
set
he
the tone
didn't.
for the
It
game.
wasn't a good deke move. Nothing. Okay.
After he was already freed up on an illegal screen, man.
So. How?
Yeah, what?
There
What
we
do you
go.
got,
Come on.
Tony?
No.
What do you got?
How do they handle face-offs moving forward?
They get
That's
better
a big
at
issue.
face-offs.
And I said, NBC made a huge point as far as talking about face-offs in a couple games ago. They made a huge mention, and we're talking a lot about the fact that they were getting beaten.
How did the Knights have 2 wins in this series if they've been so thoroughly dominated in every facet?
Well, I don't like. I personally
you don't
do
like
not
anything
like.
about the Knights.
No, that's not true.
Their jersey, maybe you have one.
I'm unbiased, unlike John's former colleagues.
The truth is, the Sharks' only good game of the series was last night. Their only
That's
really
their only
dominant
dominating
effort,
game.
right, was last night.
You have two games dominated, one by each, and 2 close
Sorry.
games, one by each.
What game are you watching, though? Because I think that the improvement
not
has
the same
been
one
by
you
not
got.
Game
forcing.
2, they dominated in Game 2.
Not forcing things, in the neutral zone, and the fact that I think, and I have to agree with Peter DeBoer, that every game the Sharks are
he's
getting
just
better.
surly all the time.
They're getting better. They're
Well,
improving every
that's
game.
easy
in
to
this
say
series.
because Game 4 was their best game.
Hold on.
And it was
I
the
think
Golden
I
Knights
think the
worst
key is
game.
if you look at the trends in this series, obviously Vegas dominated Game 1. Game 2, San Jose came out and they started playing dirty, and Vegas played into it, and it cost them the game. Game 3, Vegas came out and played really well through 2 periods, and then gave up a lead, and then lost in overtime. Game 4, Vegas didn't play well, and they were dominated. So the adjustment has to come between Game 4 and Game 5 to see what Vegas is going to do to overcome the things that San Jose was doing.
No problem.
And
no problem.
They've gone win-loss throughout the series. Yet the Sharks are just so much better and keep getting better and keep getting better. They're alternating games right now.
Are you reading people's tweets?
Can we have comments here?
Okay,
Just a
go
couple.
ahead. Go
Marcus
ahead.
Mitchell, the Knights will take
Marcus.
back the advantage tomorrow night, and we'll close out the series in the Shark Tank. We got this. So back to back, and that's how I see it going down. Knights and Six.
And this is a good point.
Denise,
yeah.
San Jose dominated in the 7-0
Correct.
shutout. Really, is that what you said? Because Denise made that comment.
I
and I'm
said
like,
after
who
the
would
first
be
game-
asinine enough on this panel to say that? And,
Well, here's
and
what's
it clearly
funny.
it was
After the
He wants to bring up shots,
game, the
right?
7-0
He wants
loss
to bring up
by
shots.
San Jose.
They outshot
after
the Knights in
that,
Game 1.
the next 3 games, I
does that
feel,
matter?
as far as time in the zone, I feel as far as shots on goal, quality shots on goal, I feel as far as face-offs go, as far as hits, everything else, I think San Jose
But this
truly
is your
has
argument
dominated.
against the Kings, and they swept the Kings.
Well,
So there's nothing in your argument.
are you
that
ever going
suggests
to admit
they
that there's
can't
issues
beat
with
the
the
Sharks?
face-offs,
Who
especially
said there wasn't?
especially
your argument,
in shorthanded
Tony, is
situations.
that is going to be
You
the be-all,
continue-
end-all
No, I'm
of
just
this
saying.
series. That will dictate
Cheers.
the result of this series.
I'm just saying, if you continue to give up that advantage, lose face-offs in your own end, when you're shorthanded, you are going to lose games.
They've had trouble doing that all year, and that's one of the reasons.
Is it just more magnified now? Because I
think it
never
is.
thought that
And
I never
that's
thought
one
that
of
they
the
were that
reasons
bad.
You just
That they
haven't watched
traded
all
for
year.
Tatar and people like that because they were
watched every
trying to
game.
overcome that.
I watched
But
every single game this year. Rangers.
That's an issue that they've had, and yes, it's being magnified now. But there were other things that went wrong last night. I mean, the Sharks disrupted everything they were trying to do when they got in the offensive zone. They weren't able to really get offense set up. So that's been a problem. So that the adjustments need to happen before tomorrow night.
I'll try it this
John's
way.
going back to his
Well, I
alter
just
ego.
need my glasses on. Yeah, Rey Mysterio's going to
Drop the
go off the
knowledge
top
here, man.
turnbuckle and go off on the guy next to me. The atomic elbow. Did he have, what was his move, Rey Mysterio?
619.
Okay.
All right, folks, if you're watching, give us some comments. Not about Tony and Matt going toe to toe, but what's your opinion about what needs to happen specifically in Game 5 for Vegas to come back and take the series
Let me
advantage?
ask you and John a question.
And say hello to Rick. We like hellos to Rick.
Let's leave Tony out of the
no,
next
because
5 minutes of the
I want.
show.
This is about Tony. I'm going to ask you both
Okay.
a question. Let's say this series was completely reversed as far as which team looked like the dominant team and so on and so forth. All of Tony's arguments, and the series was tied at 2-2. What would Tony's argument be? Oh, the Knights are letting the Sharks hang around. They've been dominating, but they're letting them hang around, and it's going to cost them. He is going to find the negative aspect in whatever the argument is to make his point, which is Sharks are going to
and
win
it
in
really
7.
gets you going, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm just, I would say we should bring up Tony's childhood and see where all this negativity came on. But then I'd feel bad for our viewers and our listeners. And I don't know, I wouldn't want Tony to start crying here on the set. It would be some sort of sob story.
Okay.
Poor
but
Tony.
I think Tony checked out like 5 minutes ago.
No, this is good. What are you guys saying? How could you be taken serious on this show?
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm never taken serious anyway by anybody here. Maybe out there.
Are we taken seriously on this show?
Maybe out there. Shameless plug for the mask, right? And the reason why
We're not going to get to that later. Okay.
It is Luchador. Well, I just want to kind of explain it, at least give a little context. It's Luchador
But he wants
night.
to know why you're wearing teal.
Luchador Mask Night on
That's a good
Saturday at Cashman Field. Now, this is the lights' fault because it's teal.
Right.
So that's
This is
not
the
good.
only exception, apparently, to the
No,
teal.
no, no. There's another.
The first
there's
5,000
another
fans at
exception.
Cashman Field get one of these, and they're pretty awesome.
That's
I mean,
pretty
that's
cool.
a great giveaway.
That's one of the best promotions ever.
It is great, right? But I went last night and watched the game at the Cosmopolitan, right? Had dinner with friends, watched the game, and everyone, all of their security guys, because they're always trying to throw me out of these places. But they were all wearing. They were
Can't imagine why.
They were all wearing tail They were wearing teal.
Well, I don't think they're going to change their uniforms.
Well, didn't you guys read what the mayor said? And speaking of the mayor, so now, John.
Yeah, do we want to talk about this now?
Yeah, let's talk about
Tony,
this
pull
now.
your mic
Set
down
it up.
buddy.
Please
What?
make sure we get enough context for our
Put your
audience.
mic down, Tony. It's in your throat, man.
Go ahead.
Am I giving the context?
Yeah, go ahead.
In this silly getup. Okay, so the context here is that I've been ranting several weeks, if you've been keeping tabs on this show, about how the city of Las Vegas, I'm talking about city government, and Clark County, Nevada, they've lacked considerably in the amount of signage that has been on display. You can put a wrap around City Hall. How much is that? I don't know, $5-10 grand. I'm sure they have a budget for signage somewhere. I mean, we're only the number one tourist destination in the country, or at least, top 5. I don't know the official numbers, but we have a budget for these things, and yet I don't see any banners downtown. No wrap on City Hall. The county, and I'm really more upset at the county because they own Las Vegas Boulevard. Where is the signage on the pedestrian walkways? How hard is it to put a Vegas-born sign on those pedestrian walkways? How hard is it? How much is it going to cost?
They did put a jersey on the Statue of Liberty,
right? Which the county had no control over. So
they put a puck in the side of the
county doesn't do that, right? Caesars did it.
At this point,
New York
we should be
did it.
littered with
Yeah,
Golden
it's
Knights
so pathetic. Sorry,
it should
I'm
be
using the word
everywhere,
pathetic.
right?
Digital billboards, people are like, oh, we're in the digital age. I get it. It's not the same as physical signage. That really
Well, if that's the
brings
case, if
community.
it's digital age, then why is there constantly wraps on the MGM and the Luxor
exactly.
and every other hotel in that
I'm
area?
really
that
more
have
upset
these
with the
big
county.
signs?
They tweet nonstop about the Golden Knights nonstop. Put up a friggin' sign somewhere, Clark County. Sorry if somebody's watching county. I love the county, but I mean seriously. Spend a few dollars and put up a sign somewhere, for God's sakes. Anyway, I finally ranted enough on Twitter that the city of Las Vegas got back to me and
John.
said,
No, that's not how it happened.
I'm sorry.
I defended you. I defended you.
I'm sorry. I'm stealing your thunder.
No, I defended you. I said yeah. I said the mayor only responds if this run was being done by the Las Vegas Lights, then the mayor would have been all over it. And then what happened?
And then the city saw that and just bit
Well, I
right
got your
into
back for once.
The mayor's been a huge supporter of pro sports in Vegas. Yes, we know, but she's really pushed hard
for once, just one time.
She's really pushed hard for that downtown stadium. We know. I mean, the mayor's fighting for Vegas, clearly Vegas proper, as she should. And then they said, if you have any suggestions, John, we would love to pass them along. Of course, I have suggestions. Anybody with a elementary school mindset could probably come up with some great suggestions, like just putting up some banners and a wrap around City Hall. How do we not do that? There's banners in front of the Thomas and Mack Center that say, welcome to Las Vegas. How are those not replaced already? I don't get it.
Can we go to comments for
Sorry.
just a second?
Here we go. It's
This
just
is awesome.
wait. Time out. I just want to read the city's response to my tweet. Mayor Goodman
read your tweet first.
Mayor Goodman has been a longtime supporter of pro sports in Las Vegas. Whether in city limits or not, she has always felt pro sports are key components to a world-class city. She's always happy to support all of our teams, including VGK, the Lights, UNLV, the WNBA, and the 51s. I had your back for once, John, man. I really did.
For once, yeah. I mean, thanks for stirring the pot in a positive manner instead of in a negative manner. So I submitted my suggestions a week ago or so can't wait to get back to the city and see how far that's advanced.
And Matt, just one other note. Don't tweet out, we lost, okay?
Oh, my God.
Don't tweet out, we lost.
Show me we.
Stop
Show
it.
me
Just
we
quit
one
it,
time.
man. Just quit being a homer.
Show me the we one
Just
time.
quit it, man. Don't be like some of the other fanboys in the city.
We're all homers.
Tony, is that your jersey under the desk that you took off right before the show started?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's read this.
All right, here we go. Chris Wynn says, I didn't realize Jack Black was subbing for John tonight.
Nice.
Good.
Sarah Owens,
John's
John is
MIA.
killing me with the mask.
Yes.
Chris Wynn comes back. Haha. Gotta admit, having John make serious and in-depth commentary with that getup is hilarious.
He's an oxymoron right there on
Without the getup,
good
it's
stuff,
hilarious.
Maybe just a moron, but one or the other.
I like it, man. I think this should be the new John for the show.
Yeah, I'm fearless when I put the luchador mask on, clearly, so I can stand up to Tony.
He'll go to bat for you with the mask
Yeah,
on.
and
Once it comes
again,
off,
I'm next to you, so the elbow could
he's a
come flying
superhero.
out.
Oh, man. So
All right,
what changes in the lineup for
Suplex.
game
What
5?
change? Yeah, well, Spiza, I think, needs to
I'd
come
love
in.
to see Spiza in. I think he just
I don't know
gives
why
us
he didn't come
more.
in for game
And
3.
Subban?
I don't either.
Subban between the
Subban
pipes?
will not
No,
see the
Subban
ice
will-
throughout this
but
entire
again, I
Did you
had
see
it.
where he was sitting? Did you guys see where he was
I had a
sitting?
little bit of a
They
feel.
banished him like to the corner somewhere.
was-
But I
On the bench.
had a feel though that things were not going to go right, and Fleury needed a break.
This had
I
nothing
told
to
you.
do with a break, Tony.
I needed a break.
This
That's
game
it.
had nothing to do with Fleury being tired, Fleury needing a break, Subban being on the bench. That is
Okay.
the most irrelevant thing you can throw at this series.
So Spiza
Subban's not going to ever see
Carpenter
the ice.
needs to be back
Carpenter.
in. Instead
I'd
of-
like to see-
in-
I'd like
instead
to
of
see
Tatar.
Carpenter.
and Reeves. And
No.
Reeves will never.
Who's Reeves
he's
going to
not gonna be-
replace? Nobody.
Well, I feel like, and again, I'm just doing it for sake of discussion, not to defend Tony, but I feel like at this point there should be a conversation about Reeves going into the lineup.
Why?
Where?
Tatar hasn't done anything. Clearly,
He's
Carpenter
not going to
hasn't.
be in there for Tatar. You need offense.
On the
Reeves
third
doesn't
line?
give you
Well,
offense.
I'm sure they could shift it around a
Reeves
little
would
bit.
be in for Carrier.
Right.
That's
I
where
was
he
going
would
to say,
fit in.
well, Carrier blew a gasket at the end of the game. You need someone who's going to go in there.
So do a
And
little
what?
song and
Blow
dance.
another gasket? That's
He's
what
going to
Reeves
blow.
is going to do.
But Carrier's
He's going to blow up any pick play that on
Carrier's
the
a
planet.
better player than Reeves. man.
I don't care. Put him in.
I don't
So you
think-
want the fourth line to get worse?
Yes, of course.
I don't think Tatar should be in the lineup.
I don't either.
No.
He
Carpenter
needs
needs to
sit.
be-
So
I
something
seriously
needs to
think you
happen.
need Reeves to shake things up and try it. Try it for one game. Who cares?
Try it for one game
I think
so you
the
can go back to San
chemistry,
Jose
the
and
chemistry in the
clinch
first
six.
in the first series and in the first couple games on that Eakin line between Eakin and Carpenter was great. I mean, Eakin's goal came off a brilliant lead pass from Carpenter. I just think they have better chemistry out there than Tatar has.
Yeah.
And Carpenter's a bigger body to be able to do some. Stop looking at me, Sean. Carpenter's a bigger body that he can disrupt some things in front of the net on that line. So I hope we see that again.
Your wife's freaking out.
No,
dude.
Tiffany just stopped on. Wait, what's happening? I just jumped on. This is weird. It's not weird. This is how I'm
not
coming
weird.
home tonight.
Yeah,
honey.
yeah.
You're ready.
Yeah, no.
Get your baseball bat out, Tiffany.
Yeah, exactly.
This was honeymoon material.
I'd
don't
scare
you?
the crap out of her if I walked in the house like this.
I do want to talk about the media and its coverage, of the Vegas Golden
Oh,
Knights.
boy, I can't wait.
No, because I stirred it up and it's been a big topic of conversation
Has
again.
it? Or have you just made it a topic of
But
conversation?
they're talking about it every day through the media now.
okay.
You
Okay?
talking local or
I'm
national?
talking local and just we and the Fox 5 crew. I thought it was cool. Ted Priddy.
Oh, you did? Okay, you liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
Context, again, Ted Priddy was live. Friend of mine from Fox 5. Part of my season ticket group for the Golden Knights.
I bought tickets from Ted, and they weren't counterfeit.
They weren't. So Ted was live on air when the Golden Knights scored the OT winner in Game 3. Right, yeah, Game 3.
Yeah.
And national news picked up on it. Everybody picked up on it. And people came
pull
out
your
and
mic
criticized Ted and Fox 5 for celebrating a game-winning goal.
Really?
Yes,
that was just a cool moment. Look, those guys don't sit in the press box, right? I don't.
Who's commenting from the Sports Adrenaline account?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess.
What's the
that's-
safe word? I have a
The
feeling it's
producer in the back
I have a
messing
feeling
around.
it's somebody in the back room. What's the safe
Look,
word?
that wasn't a press conference.
I hear
They
Rich
weren't in
You
the
don't
press
like my
box.
microphone
room.
up there? What's
They
wrong?
weren't in the locker room. There's no reason in the world those guys shouldn't get excited about the hometown team scoring an overtime goal
Okay.
to take a 2-1 series
Because
lead.
if you're
they
up
were
there,
live on TV.
Yeah,
they were not
right.
in the
You're
press
on,
box.
If you're on press row, Matt,
Tony,
you're still going to
button
tweet
your
out.
shirt, dude.
Dude, what's going on? Okay. So I'm just tired of people that get credentialed and become fanboys. That's it. It's enough. That's it. If you have a press
this is
credential,
our first professional franchise. I have
Okay.
no problem with people saying we with this
jeez,
team.
come on. Are you
If you
serious?
if you cover the team, if you're a beat writer for the team, if your sole job is covering this team, then yes, we's and I's seem to be a little far. But we talked about this on the podcast the other night, Tony. Twitter is different. Twitter has taken on a life of its own. Twitter is instant reaction. It's your inner monologue coming out on paper, essentially, is what that is. It's different than when you put something in print for a paper, or when you write something, when you write an article, or when you're in the press room. Those are different situations.
Someone asked Matt Evans, said, what about NBC's love of the Sharks?
And I want to talk on that guy.
They
I
seem
agree
pretty
with him.
biased.
They have
well,
been. The whole
somebody's
series
got to
they have.
balance it out.
Well,
balance.
What do you
That's-
mean?
no.
What balance?
You don't understand
when
how
you
a
say,
scale
okay,
works,
if you
apparently.
are running a website and you have social media and you're putting smash this team on your social media during a game, I'm sorry. You can't.
That has
you
absolutely
lose credibility. That's it.
nothing to do
You lose absolutely
with
all
that question.
credibility.
Nothing to do with that
well,
question.
I just went Kanye on you. Okay, so
Local-
what about
local
NBC's
people-
love of the Sharks?
Local people talking about the team is completely
just
different
because
than the
we
than
don't have the
national
same
broadcast.
Yeah, okay, just because we don't have
Not
the
okay,
same
it's
announcers.
absolutely different.
We don't have the same announcers that we've had all season long on AT&T, suddenly we're on NBC and people can't handle it. They just can't handle it.
I'm talking more
because
about
it's fair.
Joe
It's
Buck
fair.
on the Cowboys game.
It's fair and
More
objective.
about the post-game analysis. Did you watch the post-game last night? Suddenly the Sharks were going to win the Stanley Cup.
No, because the game was over and they put the baseball games at the end of the second period at the Cosmo. The baseball games were on the big screens, and so I had to watch.
I don't believe that. Is that serious? They
Yeah.
took the Golden Knights games off the big
Absolutely,
screens.
they were off the big screens at the end of 2 periods, and all of the. And I love the Cosmo. And thanks, shout out to my friends at STA.
Stop.
But no, seriously, they did. What other questions do we have there?
No, that's it.
No, I mean,
Go ahead.
again, national. This is a national broadcast, Tony. This isn't our local guys on AT&T Sportsnet.
Right.
This isn't guys in the press room tweeting about stuff. This is a national broadcast where these guys are there to give you fair, unbiased accounts of what's going on in the game, play-by-play of what's happening in the game, and they cannot give the Sharks more love than what they're doing. It's definitely tipped in favor of San Jose.
Jeremy Roenick loves.
I was going to
Vegas,
say,
though. Roenick
well,
does love
Roenick doesn't
Vegas.
go. Roenick will not go to
Well,
San
he took
Jose.
a couple on Vegas' side.
Roenick does
It took
not
him the
know
whole
the way to
season
San
to
Jose
jump on
because
board.
Roenick just wants to come here, dress up like Elvis, play on the drum line, and defend
And he
goalie
was-
interference.
Right,
and
exactly.
defend goalie
That's right. He called both
That's all he
goalie
does.
interferences
Yeah.
Vegas' way in the
So
series.
is he trying to balance it out now in the opposite direction?
Well, thank you, Jeremy Roenick,
Somebody
former
has to.
Blackhawk, legendary Chicago Blackhawk.
And
Yep,
Chicago
respect
reference.
for Chicago.
It only took,
It's a
what,
drinking
35
game.
minutes?
Las Vegas Lights FC as
knew
well.
it was coming,
All right,
though.
so how does the rest of the series play out, Tony?
It's going to go 7.
So who wins Game 7? Sharks do.
Now you know that I said Sharks.
who wins
So
that?
they-
5.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me
Shoot,
talk.
this is Ishchi with the beard. The playoff beard.
that your
If I didn't
playoff
have the
beard?
playoff beard, this would be a lot
getting out of
better
hand.
scenario.
So I
And the
predicted
crowd's
gonna
Sharks
lose it.
in 7, and that
So
team's
they
been
win Game 7.
the
Who
team's
wins
Do
been
they win
five?
in Vegas?
the team's been inconsistent.
Who wins Game 5?
I don't know, but you're telling me based on momentum
You think the Sharks will
that
win in Vegas?
you said based on momentum, Matt, that
I
we're
said
going to
they
see
will have the momentum in this game.
You said
coming
based on
back home
momentum
and having the crowd behind them.
that VGK is going to
Go
have
back
momentum
and check
going
the
in.
tape. That's what I said.
How important is the first period tomorrow night? The way that Vegas comes out is going to be huge.
I said Sharks in 7, and I'm going to
keep
stick
saying
with
that.
it because I just think they're playing better defensively. I still don't think defensively for VGK right now that they're getting it done, and they've had just like unbelievable goaltending by Fleury. Fleury's just been sensational, throughout the course of this series, and I like the team that's just improving. And it's nothing against. I'm a VGK fan. Part-time.
But here's the thing,
Part-time
Tony. Here's
now.
the thing. You act as
they
though
beat down 3-0 in the series. You're talking
Just
about
because
them
just
improving.
because
Yeah,
I'm
well,
being
hold on, hold on.
unbiased,
They
you
did
guys.
improve.
Tony,
I-
you act as though
What are you
the Knights
watching?
are-
What are you guys
Tony,
watching?
You act as though the Knights are incapable of turning around.
They've been
their
doing it
per-
all
their
year.
defensive performance.
All
Yeah,
year.
but it's playoff
Their
time.
defense was
I don't like
phenomenal
the way
in
they're
4
playing.
games against the Kings.
I don't
It
like
was
the way they're playing the
phenomenal
last
in
3
Game
games.
1.
I don't.
It took 6 periods to give up 4 goals in Game 2. They gave up 3 in Game 3, and then were shut out 4-0 in Game 4.
You said you don't like how they've been
Why
playing the
can't
last
they go
3
back?
games.
Yeah.
I mean, Game 3, the way that Vegas came out, they dominated the first 2 periods.
Right.
I mean,
And what
yes,
happened in the third
Yes,
period?
the Sharks came back and won and
They
tied
won
it up.
the game, man.
But then we came back in overtime and did what they needed to do.
It's like a superhuman
So that's 2.5
luchadorian effort.
So that's 2.5 periods of a game versus 1 period that they didn't play as well.
Chris Wynn, VGK in 6, in my humble opinion. Mark Andre will be the difference.
I agree.
Tiffany Castanino, VGK in 6. Get with it, Tony.
Well, we live with
Fleury
it.
had one bad game.
We live in Las Vegas.
One bad game
Okay.
out of 7.
And I knew it was
Sorry,
coming.
what were we
And I
at?
knew
Out
it
of
was
8.
coming. And I felt that it
One
was
bad
coming.
game out of 8.
And I felt that it was coming.
So Subban should start.
I told you the
So
other
what if
night
they
on the
lose that
podcast
game
that I
with
didn't think.
Subban?
I
What if
told
they-
you.
what if
And
they
you guys
don't
are like,
even
he's
know-
fresh.
I don't even know that Fleury had a bad game in
What if-
Game 4. I mean, the first one was a
No, he
pick
didn't.
play. The
Well, he did,
second
but, I
goal
mean,
he
he
couldn't
didn't
even
have a bad
see.
game.
That was bad
He
defense.
didn't have a bad game.
So
Hello?
if you play if you give up 2 goals, I'll take just giving up 2 goals against the Sharks because I think we'll
I
outscore
phrased
them.
that improperly.
Okay, so you guys
Had
are going to say
Subban
we win?
started,
Is that what
had
you're gonna
Subban
say?
started and they lost the game 4-0 like they did last night, the world would have lost its mind. How can
I
you bring
agree
in
with that.
Subban and you would have created controversy just for the sake of creating controversy, just so you can have the backup goalie come in for absolutely no reason?
Absolutely.
And then
Sooner or
Fleury
later,
would've- Fleury would've been
sooner
in
or
the
later,
stands in that
if
corner
if
and-
VGK advances, we're going to see Subban.
You're
gonna have
not
to play.
ever going
We're
to
not
see
going to
him
see him
in
in
the
the
series.
postseason. We're not
In
going
the,
to
yeah, in the postseason. You're
We're
not
not
going to
see him in the postseason.
saying.
Comment,
Yep.
Matt
for it.
Evans. What about John Merrill? We discussed this a little bit, but we can pick it up. What about John Merrill? On the back end, he seems to be getting a lot of dumb penalties. Yep, back-to-back games. Should we put in Hunt or Spiza?
Spiza.
Everybody's available, according to Gallant. So if Spiza's still hurt, we don't know about it, right?
I think he's ready to go, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah,
What about
I expect
Lindbergh?
skating,
What
right?
about Lindbergh? What's his status?
Lindbergh is a healthy scratch, as far as I know.
think
He
he'll
just hasn't
continue
been
to be a
playing.
healthy
Yeah.
scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Lindbergh coming. I don't see Hunt coming in.
Why not Reeves play defense?
I'm saying Reeves has to play.
I don't
Reeves
think,
has to play.
No,
Doesn't
I
have
think
to play.
I think the two changes. Spiza comes in
Absolutely.
and,
Sorry, I'm
and
just
Carpenter
saying it,
comes
just
back
to say
in.
it.
Reeves is
what
gonna
about-
come in
you-
with Subban,
I think you got to
apparently.
flip flop. I think you got to flip flop. What's his name? Perron and Tuck again.
Yeah.
I think you got to switch up the lines.
I say get rid of Carrier and put in the big guy. And I think we're going to see Joe
What line is
Thornton.
Carrier
Tatar
on?
needs to come out.
See on
Tatar out before Carrier.
Why would you bring in Joe Thornton?
Why?
Why?
Because they're going to need him sooner or later. They're going to need him.
Based on what? According to you, they're
Experience.
getting better every single
Experience.
game, and they're just going to take over the
Experience.
series.
He
What
was
do they
almost-
need it for?
He
They're
was a
getting
game time
so good.
decision yesterday.
Tony, they've been
He was
so
a
great
game-time
without him. Why
decision.
would you rock
He'll
the
play
boat?
him. He'll play.
Ryan Green, love it. John Castanino. Ryan with the Las
Viva
Vegas
Lights.
Lights.
Yeah, but
Dropped off the masks to us.
Thank
good
you,
luck
Ryan.
on
Okay.
Saturday.
yeah,
Hope you
good luck.
sell
love
out,
him.
Good luck. And
still
score some
undefeated.
goals. Score some
Yeah,
goals.
yeah,
There's
score
only-
some
You can't have a
goals.
nothing
There's
nothing
only-
tie.
they were
next.
playing-
There's
they
only
were-
3 masks up here.
They were playing with 11 on 10
Rick gets
for
no love.
75 minutes, I think, their last game, and they still tied it. So,
Are we done with VGK?
how many illegal picks does SJ get away with?
You're
Well,
done.
apparently Eddie enough to win Game 4
Right.
last night.
That's actually a good question, because if you don't think that Gallant
It's going to have
isn't all over this
gonna
right
be
now
in their- it's
with the
gonna be in
league
their ear
saying,
before
look,
the game.
this needs to
Absolutely
stop.
will.
My guys cannot play hockey when they're running illegal picks all over the ice.
Yeah.
Don't think that that's not going to change. You're going to see
Spell
way more
Belichickian.
penalties on
Okay.
San Jose in Game 5.
I agree with
That pick play is going to be called at least 3 or 4 times in Game 5, at least.
There's 3 more games left in this series.
Yes, there are.
Out of
There's
those
2.
3 games, well, there's 3.
Theoretically, there's 3.
I got you there. Okay. How many times will Gallant be trying to get a ruling overturned on
Goalie interference? Yeah. Well,
Goalie interference.
Gee,
call.
there
There was
Anything
another
close.
one today in the Penguins game, Penguins and Capitals. It was
won that
tied
game?
1-1.
Penguins win, tie the series.
they win?
Yeah, they got an
5-2?
empty net at the end. They went up
3-1.
3-1 to win the game. So that series is tied at 2. Where are we at in the?
It was 1-0 Nashville.
Nashville's up 2-0 now with 3 minutes to go in the second. If they go on and win this game, that series will be tied at 2.
We want
If
that
Boston-
series to go 7 games.
Yeah, and if Boston wins at home tomorrow, that series will be tied at 2.
If
So we
Vegas-
have just phenomenal playoffs going on right now in the NHL.
All pretty
And we're
evenly
going to
matched.
enjoy
Yeah.
this series. And
Okay.
it'll go 6 games, and the Golden Knights will win the next 2. For sure, they're going to win Game 5. They're minus $1.50 favorites, which is pretty hefty coming off the loss in San Jose. But I think the books are right here. They know Vegas is the heavy favorite going into Game 5.
There was an issue the last home game for the Golden Knights when it was 96 degrees outside.
Yeah. Oh,
and
what
the
was the
ice.
Yeah.
Well, the ice was off a little bit later on in the game and into the overtime period because of the heat, perhaps. But the puck couldn't stay flat.
Well,
Yeah.
and
So-
it won't be an issue tomorrow.
So-
It'll be in the 80s tomorrow.
Okay.
If there is a Game 7,
See,
it'll be
I
an issue
cover.
because it's going to be
no,
100
and I
degrees.
think I read that on Twitter. I think I read that.
James Neal was talking about this after
funny.
Game 1
I
or
brought
Game
this
2.
up
I
2
can't
weeks
remember.
ago, this guy.
James Neal talked about it after Game 1, and I think that's when it was really hot outside. But he said everybody has to play on the same surface. So
I know,
the
but
guys
the
are
puck was-
working really hard. You know, I mean, it is.
The puck was bouncing, so
I brought
that's
it
an
up in the
under.
Kings series.
That's an under
Johnny come
situation.
lately
At
over
least they
here.
don't have a locust attack like they did in the
It'll
first
be-
the first game that they had in Las Vegas years ago. The outdoor game, remember?
Yeah, I
that?
remember that.
Going back
Was
to
there.
Matt.
Well, the ice
Were you
was
there?
melted.
Yeah.
Going back
I was
to
there.
Matt
The
Evans.
ice was
The
melted.
ice got soft and they had a locust
Matt Evans.
attacked.
Yeah.
Matt, goalie interference. Mark
Anybody
Andre
remember
was
that?
asked about
Right
the
in.
league's view of it, and if it was clear, he wouldn't respond. What do you guys think?
I think he's pissed.
Yeah, he
I
should
think
be.
he's furious. I mean,
If you've
you
ever
give
watched
the Sharks
Marc-Andre
the game
Fleury
off of that, and
give
then
up
you
goals at practice
call
and
it
how
the other
mad
way.
he gets, imagine how mad he gets
I've seen him break
translated into
sticks
the
in
games.
practice.
Oh, yeah.
He did have a
He just
political
is not
answer
happy.
the other night, though, after Game 5, right? He said the league should talk to the goalies about what the goalies feel is interference or not
right.
interference.
That's a good point.
It is a good point. There is a goalie on the league's review crew or part of that crew. So Fleury said that was good, but beyond that, I mean, he's absolutely right.
I think we should lobby the NHL, and rather than having the Situation Room in Toronto, it should be right here. This should be the situation.
Sports Adrenaline Desk.
That's right.
I wonder which way we'll go.
Yeah, we know which way Tony will go.
So
right?
2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3. You're still sticking
Absolutely, because I think they win Game 5.
VGK in 6.
I think they win Game 5, and then what do you do? What do you do in San Jose? Now they're up against it, going back home with all the pressure in the world on them.
I think they win. Vegas wins Game 5 tomorrow night, and San Jose starts to panic, and especially if Vegas comes out and has a good first period in Game 6. That's what happened in Game 4 against LA.
Yeah.
They came out and had a great first period. LA threw everything they could at them and couldn't do anything, and they just fizzled. So
Jones will have a 3-goal period. He'll give up 3 goals in Game 6.
Just like he did in
Game 1, and just like he did in the first game at
yeah.
T-Mobile Arena.
I mean, we've seen the Knights do that all year.
Okay.
Yep.
I say we lose. We lose the series.
Yeah, what is this we? This is we garbage.
Can somebody tell Tony that he's nuts? The more comments that we get on social media, the more that we can make a change here.
I just love how you guys
hosts,
play into it.
And that would be great. I mean, wouldn't you like to see the Luchador mask hosting this show? I think so.
Let's move along to the Raider Nation.
Oh, it's so itchy.
It's just like, or should we just talk about the lights again, and then you can take the mask
Yeah,
off?
again, context here, Las Vegas Lights FC. Great club, undefeated, 2-0-3 right now. Back home this weekend.
A lot of ties in
Saturday.
soccer. A lot of ties.
Yeah, a lot of ties.
They need
and they've
They
still
should
got
do
a
5-minute
overtimes
overtimes like hockey. Let's change the rules in soccer. Let's get some 5-minute overtimes with like 4 guys on the field and get some more goals going.
Oh my gosh, they get so winded. A little different than skating down the ice, but I do think they need to fix something that they don't have overtime ties.
Yeah, nobody likes it.
Too much
First
sister kissing
5,000
going
fans on Saturday.
exactly.
We'll get the Luchador, and this is high quality. If you have a big noggin like Tony, though, probably not.
It
gonna
only
work
fits
for
on
you.
half of my head.
Will it mess up my hair?
It works for me though.
already did.
No, you've got TV hair. Mine's pretty good.
Can you
so
get a one without a top?
It's if you have facial hair, it's going to be a little
visor
rough. I
mask?
can tell you, it's a little itchy. So.
The Raider Nation. The Raider
hair.
Nation.
Are we moving on? All right,
Yeah.
everybody stay tuned here. We'll talk Raiders.
Okay, let's talk some Raiders right now. So former Kansas City Chief linebacker Derek Johnson visited Raiders camp in the Bay today. Johnson, now 35 years old, played 13 seasons in KC, a former first-round draft choice. 71 tackles last season. They say that he's on the way down. That's a pretty good season to me. Are the Raiders using Johnson's visit to get Navarro Bowman to get his attention
I really
so
hope
that he
so.
takes a pay cut for the upcoming season?
I really hope so, because we need to figure out what's going on with Navarro Bowman. Why haven't they signed him yet? How far away are they on these negotiations as far as money is concerned? Whether it's money, whether it's years, I don't know. But there's really no reason to not have him in. They didn't address inside linebacker in the draft, one of their major positions of need, maybe one of their
draft.
biggest positions of need, and they didn't address it. So bring him in. I think it's time that he gets signed.
John, you're teaching the youth of today and the future journalists of tomorrow. What do you tell them? What do you tell them seriously as far as you using the word "we"? In their
Are we
reporting.
back there?
What is that? Is not allowed, Tony. I mean, it's a tenet of journalism. We do not say "we," especially in the press box. Now, out in this setting, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Because this is a little bit more opinion based.
And what about on Twitter?
If you're just going fact based, right? Of course,
Yeah.
in their reporting and their stories, there is no "we," and they know that. And my point earlier on our podcast is, hey, look at the finished product here. When you're caught in the moment, sure, you can say "we" and you can get a little emotional about it. But when you go out and you actually finish that story, right? If they're saying "we" or "us" or "I," clearly that's some biased reporting, and that doesn't work.
And that's-
I'm going to
in
listen
the
to
heat
the
of the
professor
moment, though.
here.
And that's part of the fanboy. That's part of the fanboy.
The professor.
That's part of the fanboy nation, though, right there. Vidal Alexander suspended the first 4 games of next season. Oh, back to Raider talk. That's right. We saw the Raiders traded Jihad Ward, the defensive end, in exchange for Ryan Switzer this week of the Cowboys, the former UNC standout. Really, not much, that he's proven so far in his NFL career, but he's good on returning punts also.
Griff Whalen, what? Sorry.
He'll make the 53.
Sorry.
He's gone.
I wanted to talk about Dan Schwartz. We haven't talked about this on our show here. We talked about it on our podcast. But the Republican state treasurer running for governor, who's 66 percentage points behind behind Laxalt.
Falling.
Yeah. Told the Review Journal that
good
he's going to
reason.
put the brakes on the Raiders Stadium on the project if he is elected.
Put the brakes on his campaign is what he did.
He said he would stall the project and the fee funding for the roads leading into the stadium until the Raiders rework the deal. So that's not going to happen.
No,
what this guy is saying is that he would shut down all of the roads leading into the stadium so no one could get there.
He's kind of like the Tony Cordasco of the gubernatorial race in Nevada, just stirring the pot and saying nonsense that doesn't make any sense. And we've been dealing with it for we have been dealing with it for far too long, and we are going to vote you out of that chair.
He's just hoping to generate buzz, draw attention to himself, and get votes. First of all, the stadium. You can't
I think he wants Reno votes. He needs Reno votes.
All 12 of them?
Who's
That's not going to matter.
Who's going to vote for him here?
Did somebody mention a Julie? What up, Julie? Why is Chris saying what up, Julie? Sorry,
what up, Julie?
Okay, hi, Julie.
John, you can take that off.
It's really itchy, but I feel like we're,
Is this the Tinder room now? What's going on? It's just the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, if you're hitting up Tinder on Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas,
that's right.
You got problems.
Next week, current players are going to join the Raider Foundation alums. Wednesday night, the fundraiser going on at Topgolf. That event starts at 6:30, will last until 9. But, yeah, they're going to bring in some current players.
Some
big
hitters,
names.
right?
So probably Carr will come.
Martavis
Bryant doesn't live...
They said alum, which...
Yeah, but now they're saying current players.
Oh, we're getting current players.
Yeah.
Man.
The word leaked out.
Bryant has been training here in Vegas
Yeah.
over at
He lives here.
He lives here.
Yeah.
He lives here.
Yeah, so that's a
Could
possibility.
be his first public appearance, right, as a Raider?
I'm excited to see what alum... I'd love to see Charles Woodson out there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's always involved in this kind of stuff.
Are you going to go cover that for us, Tony?
Yes, I'll be there.
Great. Make sure you have
I'll make sure my microphone isn't up too high.
Yeah, that's good. You don't want the little shot.
Keep it down a little bit. We don't need it on your actual throat.
Okay. We went out to see the Raiders' Day 3 draft selections at the Thunderbird hangar out at Nellis Air Force Base.
Nice
right,
touch.
Matt, right?
Go ahead.
And then you had an interview.
Do your thing.
No, but
be the host, Tony.
Okay, so...
so we went out to Nellis.
Right.
Get out of here. You're done.
And we meaning the Raider Nation.
It's a well-oiled machine here at Sports Adrenaline.
We went out to Nellis Air Force Base. Tony, you were there.
You had the privilege of going out to Nellis.
We did have the privilege. We had the escort.
The first time they let me into the hangar.
Yeah, the hanger was awesome. We had an
F-35
clearly
didn't do a background check
on one side. We had the F-16 Thunderbird on the other side with the American flag in the middle. Just a really, really cool scene to be out there and watch the Raiders do their draft picks. And they had a couple alum out there, one of them being former Raider great Greg Townsend. And
the great Greg Townsend.
Number 16 all time in sacks. And we had a chance to catch up with Greg and talk to him a little bit.
We're pulling double duty this week, Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas and Silver and Black today out here at Nellis Air Force Base. Raiders legend Greg Townsend here with me. We just announced the 5th round selection for the Raiders, correct?
Yes.
Maurice Hurst, you were a 4th round selection. You ended up being 1st round talent without question. Mo Hurst was talked about as being a possible 1st rounder and then slipped. What do you see from this pick from the Raiders? Are you happy with the pick?
Oh, I'm very happy with the pick. I think we're addressing some of our needs that we have, and the pick with Hurst is a D tackle, and we had another pick from the kid from Sam Houston, who's a D tackle as well. So we're addressing those needs, and we have those needs because we need to stop the run and we need to get after the quarterback. And so hopefully those two guys can come in and help us immediately.
For all of our new Las Vegas, soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders fans out there, give them a little background on who you are, what you meant to this organization. You were picked in the 4th round in 1983, which was, if anybody remembers, was a pretty big draft as far as quarterbacks are concerned. One of those quarterbacks, number 1 overall, you had a lot of face-to-face with.
Right.
Talk about your career there.
Okay. Well, I was picked, like you said earlier, in the 4th round. I was a 110th player pick, and I noticed the Raiders had a 110th pick today as well. So it kind of brought back a little nostalgia for me. But being a rookie coming to play with the Raiders, coming from out of TCU, it was an adjustment I had to make. At the same time, it was a long season because we went to the Super Bowl that year, and I watched our team join forces with each other. What I mean by that, we policed ourselves and we made ourselves play. I tried to make Henry Lawrence better. Henry Lawrence tried to make Greg Townsend better, and that's the way we practice. And so once we got to the Super Bowl, it was all worth it. And like you were saying, I chased that guy John Elway around all my career, and I know I'm the only guy that sacked any quarterback in the league 45 times. And I said that again, not 4 or 5, 45 times I sacked John Elway, and 2 of those are safeties, and 1 I did an 86-yard interception for a touchdown. So needless to say, we see John Elway over there being the general manager with Denver, and he's always addressing the pass rush because he knows what the pass rush meant to him, getting sacked by one guy 45 times.
You got tired of seeing that silver and black coming at him for sure. Now, talk about standing here. I mean, right behind you, you see all the iconic symbols here, the Thunderbirds. What it's like to be out here at Nellis Air Force Base and representing the Raiders in what is soon to be their new home?
Well, first of all, this is brand new to me, learning about the Thunderbirds and seeing the men and women who flies these planes. It's just been an awesome day today. And being chosen by the Raiders to come here and do this, it's an honor. It's a very big honor for me. So with all that said, I'm just hoping next year I'll be back.
You were fortunate enough to play with both. You were drafted by the Los Angeles Raiders and then finish your career with the Oakland Raiders. How do you feel about the move here to Las Vegas, and what do you think it'll do for this franchise going forward?
First of all, I feel like this is the only franchise could have done this, can come to Vegas and pull this off with the fan base that we have. But I also feel like by us coming to Vegas and doing this, this is only a tip of the iceberg for us to get some new tradition, some new history for the Raiders and move forward.
There it is. Raiders have a couple more picks left today. We'll see where they go. Hopefully, if any of them turn out like Greg Townsend, they'll be in good shape going forward, and that defense will be ready to go.
Thank you.
45 times he sacked John Elway.
5.
And San Jose has some picks left as well.
He looks like he could still play. Ignore him. He looks like he could still play.
He does. He's in great shape, and he was great to talk to. He was a lot of fun out there the whole time. He was up there for every single pick. They had a little area blocked off right in front with the backdrop of the Jets and the flag, and they stood there, and you had the great scene behind it. But that was a lot of fun. We were there when they made the Maurice Hurst pick.
Yeah, that was cool.
And it was really cool because they were just setting up. So this was right before we did this interview, and they rushed Townsend. Come on, we got to go. They traded up. So we all run back into the hangar. And the radio call comes in. And at this point, we had no idea what was going on in the draft because we had been busy with everything else. We didn't know who was on the board, who had been drafted at this point. And the radio call comes in. They're going to take Maurice Hurst. And I'm on one side of all the equipment, and Tony and Scott are standing on the other side. And I was shocked that he was still there. And I just looked over and went, "We got Mo Hurst." I couldn't believe that they had.
He said
that
we.
He was still. I did say we. I did it on purpose. I couldn't believe that Maurice Hurst was still on the board, and it was neat to get that call in before they even announced it because they were still going through all the craziness. That's cool. That was fun though. It was a good time. Privileged to be out there. We talked to a lot of the airmen out there. One of the generals out there who was in charge of. They said if it flies, she's in charge of it. So she's got some clout on the base.
Yeah,
I believe she was number 2 on the base.
Yeah.
But a lot of fun. Really neat to be out there.
Gina loved your interview. Great interview.
Thank you, Gina.
Raider Nation.
Raider Nation.
Yeah.
Very nice. Can we do a shout out to our rebels that are going to camp with different teams?
Yeah,
I'm trying to steer this. Well, I wanted to talk about the Raiders draft first.
Yeah, we've got Tony's got the list on there. We can kind of trust him.
Okay.
At some point. Yeah.
At
Go
some
for it.
point.
Keep going.
Go for it, Tony.
Go ahead,
Colton
Tony.
Miller, the Raiders, our team, the Raiders, move up to drop down to number 15. And Miller is a project. We've talked about this.
Second team All Pac-12. Got that in my research.
Okay.
Second team All Pac-12.
He's a good run blocker. Everything I've seen on film, but he'll go to the second level and he'll knock some people down. I talked about that hip end issue because he's so tall. It's 6'8", 310. He can't really get in pass protection in his stance.
Are you sure? But are you 100% sure he cannot pass block? Because
he's had a really difficult time. I think didn't Myles Garrett beat him off the edge a few times when they played Texas A&M. I think UCLA.
Garrett's pretty good though.
Yeah. Well, but he still got beat off the edge.
But I agree with Tony here for once. Finally, he's not. His strength is not pass protecting, and you draft a guy at number 15 to play on your offensive line for one reason, and that's to protect your franchise, which is Derek Carr. I think this was a bit of a reach pick. They thought about taking him at 10, but were able to trade back. One of the pieces they traded back for, or that they acquired in the trade, was what they used to go get Martavis Bryant. So that worked out well. So in that aspect, it's kind of a 2-for-1, but I still think that there were more impact players available at number 15, one of them being Tremon Edmonds, which was...
Edmonds, not Edwards.
Not Edwards, Edmonds. But that was I think he was 1A to Minka Fitzpatrick as far as who everybody assumed the Raiders would go after, because those are big impact players on the defensive end. And this defense has been horrendous for 20 years. The defense needs to improve, and they go out and they get a fringe guy on the offensive line. And the most important offensive line position as far as protecting Carr is going to be left tackle. And this kid's probably never going to play left tackle because he doesn't pass block well. He's going to be on the right side. They did get Brandon Parker later on in the draft in the 3rd round, who may end up being their left
Projected
tackle
to go in the
future.
5th or 6th round.
Right. So again, another reach pick there. P.J. Hall, their 2nd pick.
Clearly, Tom Cable
A bit of
knows
a
what he's
reach.
doing, though, as far as offensive
because he's
linemen
developed
go.
offensive
Tom
linemen so
Cable's
well
great.
in Seattle.
Cable guy. But now,
Colton Miller can't even use his hands.
Can we look at
yet.
it from the
He
perspective?
doesn't even
Miller's
know
a
how to
reach
use
pick.
his hands.
It's a reach pick.
Can we look at it from the perspective of not the actual pick, but the moves that they made to make sure that, why am I, Wheaton?
Yeah.
Wide receiver. Sorry, I forgot his name for a second. Jeez, must be the mask. But they've got Wheaton, and now they have a couple potential impact players on defense. So why can't we just be happy with that? I get it was a bit of a reach, but let's trust Tom Cable, and let's trust the new coaching staff. I'm sure the kid can pass block at some point. I mean, he's going to have to.
But that's the thing.
You can't make a number
He
15
hasn't
pick
yet.
on him.
That's the problem, is he's a project pick. He's not a guy that's going to come in tomorrow and start at right tackle and shut down a defensive end on the other side. That's just not what he's going to do. And the impact players they made going forward, or they drafted going forward, like Maurice Hurst, who we think is a first-round talent and could start day one on that defensive line and get you that middle push that they've needed for so long. Red flag. He's got the heart condition. Is he going to be able to play?
Would you
say he is.
Would you settle for a lackluster, part of the rotation offensive lineman plus a wide receiver that could be a really big impact in that receiving core, or would you rather just have a phenomenal offensive lineman?
Here's the thing, John. They traded back to 15. They already had the piece to go out and get Martavis Bryant.
No, well,
so
I thought they used
could
that pick to get Bryant.
But the
pick that
trade
they got.
back
Yeah.
to 15.
Right.
So they could have picked Edmonds at 15, still had that piece they traded back for, and gotten Bryant on top of it. So I think they missed with the Colton Miller pick. Now, I'm not a GM. We've been over this, right, Tony? Not
Yes.
a GM.
Yes.
This could be a great pick going forward. It just doesn't look like it on the surface because it feels like a bit of a reach.
And
I think Arden Key can be a huge
If he's Arden Weed?
Arden Key.
Oh, okay.
Key, not Weed. He does have off the field issues, little marijuana issue, but
Right.
this kid is a ridiculous talented
He'll fit
defensive
right
end.
in here in Vegas.
He could be such a compliment
Yeah.
to Khalil
He's a
Mack
freak.
on the other side
He's
of the line.
6'6", 268.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it.
Yeah.
He didn't come in at LSU the last season in shape. He didn't
Right.
even come in shape. And the previous season had 15 and a half sacks.
Yeah, the kid's a beast.
Now,
If he's
what about-
right, I think it's a great pick.
What about all that talk about them wanting to take perhaps McClinchy instead of Colton Miller?
I'm actually glad they didn't
Why?
because they wouldn't have traded back and gotten that extra piece. If they were going to go with an offensive lineman no matter what, I'd prefer that they got a little something more out of it. I don't like at number 10. I don't like either of those guys, to be honest with you, because I think there were more impactful players there waiting for them.
I blame it on the coin toss.
You've been blaming it on the coin toss since before the draft.
Yeah.
Draft was good. Again, a new Raider fan here.
Draft
right?
was okay.
I mean, you
At
know,
best.
you look at it from the big picture. They got some impact players on defense. Sure, you have a project on the offensive line, but again, Bears reference.
They got pieces
Kyle
in
Long,
the draft,
Kyle
but-
Long was it was a Kyle Long, one of the Longs. He's part of the Bears offensive line now, but he only played 1 year at Oregon before they drafted him really high. So maybe they see a lot of him in Miller. Just saying, but let's see how the kid plays before we make a snap.
Well, they got pieces in the draft, but they've been extremely busy with free agent
Right.
signings.
Lot
I
of
mean, my
defensive free
goodness,
agents.
22 free agent ads so far
This
coming in. So, I mean, they have been active.
Right. They've added a lot of depth in that defensive secondary. I actually love the Bryant pickup because now you go from having Cooper on the outside, Crabtree on the outside,
Bryant,
and Seth
yeah.
Roberts in
Sorry,
the slot.
I was called. Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking
You don't?
about. It's okay.
No,
we agree.
I think it's a mask. Sorry.
You go from having Coop and Crab on the outside and Roberts in the slot to being able to move Cooper into that slot position, and you have two guys now that can just run by anybody.
Jordy
in the league.
Nelson on one side,
Jordy Nelson,
Martavis Bryant on the other side.
Right. Jordy Nelson's a great route runner. We know that. Even if he's lost a little bit of speed, he still knows how to get open, even deep. Martavis Bryant, 6'4", and can absolutely fly. He can go up and get the ball against any DB in the league.
Then you make a trade for Switzer from Dallas, who's possession
Another
guy.
kid that can get open and move the chain.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a great special teams
He's
guy.
another Griff Whalen.
He's a better version of Griff Whalen. Plus, I like him as a gunner. This is a kid that can get down the field, a lot like Andre Holmes could, right?
Yeah.
So
Not as big, but
the trade back to 15, I think, was great. I think that was a great move. I don't like the pick at 15 in Colton Miller, but the trade back, I think, improved the team.
I thought that's the point I was trying to make. The trade back.
Took you a long time to
Good
get
point,
that
John.
That
done.
was bad.
That was a good point.
It was a good point. I thought so. Thanks for
UNLV
making my
football?
point again.
UNLV
not a
football,
problem.
right, Rick?
So on this
quarterback
end of the
Robert
desk, we can say
Jackson.
something now?
Robert Jackson, right?
Oh, now you're going to say it, though,
Signed,
so I brought it
signed
up.
with the Colts as a free agent.
It is on his notes, to be fair, though.
Okay.
Mike Hughes,
Mike
defensive
Hughes in
tackle,
Jacksonville,
Jacksonville.
Yeah, good for him.
Devontae Boyd,
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati
my hair's
Bengals.
terrible right now. I
Johnny
gotta put the mask
Stanton.
back on.
Going to report to rookie camp for the Vikings
What position?
as an athlete. As an athlete, because
As a punt blocker.
well, he could be a special teams guy. He could be a player that he said
Only player in the country last year that rushed for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown, and blocked a punt.
Is it fair to say he makes the team as a special teams guy before
could.
anything else, right?
well, tight end and
that's his
H-back, linebacker.
Love to see him get a shot.
He just wants to be on the field, right?
Yeah.
So
Wouldn't you?
Not with those guys. Not in Minnesota. UNLV running Rebel basketball. Oh, is that it? I'm sorry. Did I? steal
You tell me.
UNLV running Rebel basketball. So the Rebels announced the signing of a 6'9" player, Jonathan Chamwa Chachuya
Well
from Cameroon.
Can he catch, Tony?
7'2" wingspan.
Can he catch the ball, Tony?
He's been playing at the NBA Academy.
Does he have hands of stone?
According to reports, he shoots 4,000 three-pointers a week. Another 6'9" guy.
Oh, great.
Stretch
exactly
four,
what we need.
stretch
what we need.
five.
Exactly. We. There you go. I said we again. We.
John, you got me there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Sure, we'll be ready for the NBA draft next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think he already declared for the NBA.
No opinion.
No opinion.
No,
None.
do you see this? I mean, not this.
It's going back on again?
No, I read that.
Nobody really cares
Real.
right now, Tony.
I read
Nobody
that-
really cares about what's
Is
going on with
Anthony Smith
UNLV
still
basketball.
on the roster? He's still on the roster for UNLV, even though he's suspended for 3/4 of the season. I don't know. If not, then they have every single scholarship. Everything's covered for next season. That's the team.
Are they good?
I don't know.
Rafael Rodriguez
They had
says
20 wins.
Miller was a neat pick. However, it wasn't a horrible pick.
Okay. The Mountain West Missouri Valley Conference Challenge matchups announced today.
Put
And
it on your
UNLV
calendar.
UNLV will be playing against Valparaiso, right here at the Thomas.
Valparaiso or Valparaiso?
Bryce Drew, head coach, right?
Valpo.
Yeah, Bryce.
Let's go with
Valpo.
Like
No,
Valpo.
maybe he's going to shoot the three.
Valparaiso is actually, or Valpo. You say Alpo. I say Valpo.
Melissa's on. Hi, Melissa. Tony's still single.
Still breaking hearts. Still breaking hearts.
I think she's moved on from you, actually. Sorry. Hi, Melissa.
Luchador mask not included.
Yeah, this is John, by the way, if you're just jumping on.
And
it's hard to tell.
the team from up north has to play at Loyola, Illinois.
Oh,
That should be a good matchup. there.
absolutely. Glad we know that.
Usually, though, seriously, UNLV's been getting jobbed and having to play. They played
They have
at
had
Northern
awful
Iowa this past
matchups.
year, right? Wichita State twice, on the road. So they finally get a game here in the Mountain West Missouri Valley Conference Challenge. Also, we saw that former running Rebel Brandon McCoy invited to the NBA Combine. So that's pretty good news for him.
We'll see him in the Summer League.
USA Basketball yesterday announced
Every
that
team will be here for the Summer League this year.
every team's coming, including
Every
the
team's
Knicks.
coming. Huh?
He'll be on somebody's roster.
The
Tony's
Knickerbockers. USA Basketball, I just wanted to drop in this note, announcing that
We have a choice.
Liberty High School player Julian Strother has been invited to the USA Men's Under-17 World Cup training camp.
That's how you say
pretty
my
big.
last name with a lisp.
Strother.
Strother.
Can you pronounce that? Marshall? Sorry. So Strother had been in last year's training camp with the Under-17 team. UNLV Baseball. Opening a 6-game
Can we talk about
homestand.
UNLV golf, please?
Yes, after
I mean, we're like
UNLV
burying
baseball,
them, okay?
UNLV
After-
baseball against San Jose this week as
ridiculous.
VGK
He took
plays
notes,
San Jose.
man.
One of the local teams might win a game this weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Move on, Tony.
UNLV now 29-17.
Are people still watching?
10-11 in the Mountain West
actually,
Conference.
the numbers
are going up. They're going up. Look, don't blink. Okay, John, UNLV golf heading to Columbus, Ohio, as the number 4 seed, right, in the NC2A regional tournament.
Let's get to the big news, is that they win the 3rd straight Mountain West Conference Tournament Championship yet again.
Men's and women's.
Men's and women's. How did tennis do? Tennis didn't get a swing. Men's tennis did not fare very well, right?
Not at the end.
So 3 out of 4 isn't bad. But Dwayne Knight, now 30 years in a row, the UNLV men's golf team has made the NCAA regionals. We want to talk about legacy nationwide. Unreal.
Amazing.
That's clear. It is a record. Clearly, it's a record. But Dwayne Knight has just been phenomenal for UNLV golf and UNLV as a whole. So really can't celebrate enough what he's been able to do for this program. Brings one of the 2 national championships back here to Vegas, 1998. Could this be a repeat year? I mean, they're in it. They're in a really tough region, though. They play, again, in Columbus. Oklahoma State, number 1 team in the country, is in that region.
Is Arizona State there?
It's Arizona State, I believe so, is in there. Coach is going to mention in a second. I'm just teeing up his soundbite. He knows better than me.
Tee it up. Did you get that?
Top 5
good.
teams out of the 15 advance.
Right,
Here's
that
Dwayne
elephant.
Knight, who was on the Rebel Report earlier today, talking about the NCAA regionals.
I think we feel pretty good. A couple of weeks ago at Arizona State, we had head-to-head with Oklahoma State and Texas Tech and Arizona State, and it felt like in Oklahoma, it felt like an NCAA last round, down there. And we took it right to the end and ended up losing by 1 shot. Beat Oklahoma State, beat Oklahoma, lost to Arizona State by 1. But the atmosphere down there was like a national championship. So I think it kind of piqued our team to get ready for regionals.